The regular meeting of the School Board of Charlotte County, Florida for Tuesday, August 25th, 2009 will now come to order. Please join us in the pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and thank you for being here this evening. Dr. Gaylor, are there any additions or corrections to tonight's agenda?
Yes, ma'am. There's one deletion under F1I.
F1I.
Printing issue here. Edison Collegiate High School Food Service Program. We'll bring that back when the attorneys have finished with it. That's all.
Move for approval. Second.
It's moved and seconded that we delete item F1I. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Next we have reports. Dr. Gaylor.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. We have one report this evening, and that is a report regarding an Energy Star Award. This will be our third Energy Star Award for existing older schools. This one is for Myakka River Elementary School. And I'll ask Jerry Olivo, who is our Assistant Superintendent for District Support Services. Jeff Harvey is here as well as Kelly Mauricio Willis to come to the podium and talk about this award and how they gained it. Jerry.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Madam Chairman, school board members, Dr. Gaylor. Wow, the journey continues.
Yeah.
A little snapshot of when the journey started. In January of '06, this board had the vision to contract with Energy Education Incorporated to take us to a greener path and a greener tomorrow. And in January of '07, this board passed a resolution on energy environmental design, leadership, again taking us further down that path of being a greener tomorrow for our kids. In January of '08, we received our first Energy Education Pacesetter Award. In March of '08, USGBC, the United States Green Building Council, gave us our first LEED certification for Baker. In April of '08, we received our second LEED certification for Neil Armstrong. In June of '08, we received our third certification for Peace River Elementary School. And then in September of '08, we received our first EPA Energy Star label for Sally Jones Elementary School. In December of '08, Liberty Elementary School received their Energy Star Award. In April of '09, we moved on to a grant program with Charlotte County Utilities for CCU's toilet rebate, trying to get a little bit smarter with our commodes. And from there on, and then in June of '09, we received an Excellence Award from Energy Education for our $4.6 million in energy avoidance over the first 27 months of that program. In June of '09, we received LEED certification for East Elementary School, the first silver-rated LEED school in the southeastern region of the United States. In June of '09, Punta Gorda Middle School became the first middle school to receive LEED certification. In June of '09, LA Anger, in our partnership with Florida Power and Light, became our first school to receive a grant for their solar project, Next Generation Photovoltaic System. And today, we have the honor of our third school to receive an Energy Star Award, Myakka River Elementary School. And so I just wanted to give you a little bit of the background, and today is all about Myakka and the hard work that Jeff has done. And Kelly's going to share a few words with you about their school and how they came to receive this award. But we're so pleased to move forward with your vision of a greener tomorrow for our kids. And it never gets old to come up here and speak about that. And so I'm looking forward to future occasions of being able to share it with you, but not have to give you that whole snapshot. Kelly?
You know, the Energy Star label, as we've mentioned before, is the same thing that we normally see on appliances. And it's pretty exciting to identify a school as being an Energy Star label. What that simply means is that school took it upon themselves to take this energy management program to the next level. So who really gets the credit? The students, the staff, the faculty. I go there, I do the cheerleader sometimes, I'm the quarterback of this program. But when you ask them, you know, this is what you can do, Myakka River never hesitated about taking it to the next level. You can walk through there today and find that some teachers decide that only one row of lights work. When you multiply that times 26 classrooms, it adds up. Myakka River staff and faculty care about not only their school, but about the community. And I am just so proud to be standing here tonight to tell you that Myakka River has been identified by the Environmental Protection Agency as an Energy Star label school. Yay.
Very good.
Thank you, Kelly. And so we'd like to present Mr. Harvey with this Energy Star plaque that he can proudly display at the location of him and his staff's choosing at Myakka Elementary School. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, sir. You're right, it's very heavy.
Yeah, drop it.
You told me not to drop this.
And last but not least, we have a certificate for our board that you can display to show how proud we all are of Myakka River Elementary School.
Thank you. And thank you, Myakka River, for taking energy saving so seriously. And the more money that we save from having to buy energy, we can put into the classroom. So thank your staff and your students and your faculty.
Let me just say, Kelly doesn't do herself justice. She really works hard with the staff on this too, and our staff and our students really deserve the credit for this because they've taken it very seriously, and it's a very important part of our school. So I'm very, very proud of them. The students even know to turn the lights off when they're heading to lunch, and then of course our computers all get turned off in the afternoon. I get nice memos from Kelly that she was there and all the computers were off in the school, and we have staff members that do the labs to make sure they're off at the end of the day. So we're very proud of this and we appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the hard work.
Good job, Jeff.
Appreciate
Thanks.
that. Next, we have new business, the consent agenda. Dr. Gaylor.
Approval of the consent agenda is amended this evening.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any board discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Next, we have the action agenda. Item A, Head Start and Early Start, Self-Assessment and Improvement Plan. Dr. Gaylor.
Sam, thank you. And I'd like to ask Jan Gravlin to come to the podium for just a moment and give us a very brief description of this self-assessment that our Head Start program went through, and what this means in terms of the regional office of Head Start, as well as what the improvement plan entails. Dan, if you just take a minute or two.
Sure. Good evening, Board, Superintendent. Good evening. The self-assessment plan is something that is required by Head Start law every year, and that we do a self-assessment for our program. And with that, we look at our strengths and weaknesses, and from that, we develop an improvement plan. And this year, our regional office, which is comprised of 8 states, has requested that we submit an improvement plan to the board for signatures. And this was requested during the time that I was writing the original grants, and that's why the board is getting it after the grant process that had been submitted last month. So that is coming to you, and also I think maybe attached to that was an employee compensation cap that we also ask for every year, but this year Region 4, our district office, is asking for board approval on the compensation cap. These things are required by the regional office, and sometimes we hear that they require some additional board approval items in addition to what the federal Head Start agency requires.
Thank you. Board members, any comments or questions?
I would just say that I notice on the self-assessment that it involved parents, policy council members, and the community partners, and I think that's great.
Yeah, that's correct. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, it is. We involve everybody for the self-assessment plan, and there are several different pieces to it that everyone is involved in and looks at all the pieces of fiscal. We look at family and community involvement. We look at curriculum. We look at health and nutrition. We look at all aspects of the Head Start program.
And one of the major strengths I read here is communication and approachability between all staff and families, commitment of staff to program, strong curriculum, community partnerships, many years of experience in the management team. And I hear that so much about Baker is the communication and approachability between staff and families. And that's so important, and that's why your program is so successful. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a good staff.
Nice report. Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks,
Dr.
Jan.
Gaylor, recommended action.
Recommend that we approve the Head Start and Early Head Start Self-Assessment and Improvement Plan as submitted to you this evening.
So moved.
Second?
So moved and seconded that we approve the Head Start Self-Assessment and Improvement Plan. Is there any board discussion? Ms. Messina?
Yes, this was my first time to participate in this self-assessment because it's my turn to be on the Policy Council. So many of you may have done it in the past, but this was my first year doing it, and I found it very interesting and very thorough. And so I just wanted to comment on that. I was very impressed at how many people were included and how the Policy Council really looked at the recommendations and actually made some recommendations for the committees to go back and look at some other things. So I just wanted to assure people it was a very thorough process.
Thank you. I've been on it too. It certainly is. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Next, we have item B, amendment to contract with Harvard Jolly Incorporated for Port Charlotte High School. Dr. Gaylor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. This amendment is for architectural services to provide a new track after many, many years of having an old asphalt 6-lane track at Port Charlotte High School. The capital plan is now in a position to be able to provide a new track. So we're asking to amend this contract. If you have any questions on this, Jerry is here, of course, and Jack with Harvard Jolly. So before I make a recommendation, I'll just see if the board has any questions.
Ms. Miller?
Ms. Miller?
Yes, it's going from a 6-track to 8.
Yes.
And what does that do for competition?
I believe that is regionally competitive, if I'm not mistaken, a regionally competitive track. So the regional track meets in the state can be held there.
And before it was not.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely not.
Okay,
No.
good.
Dr. Gaylor, recommended action.
Yes, ma'am. Recommend that we approve this amendment to the contract with Harvard Jolly for Port Charlotte High School as submitted to you this evening.
So moved.
Second?
It's moved and seconded that we approve the contract with Harvard Jolly for Port Charlotte track. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Item C, Hurricane Charlie Recovery, Charlotte High School Phase 1, 3-story, substructure, baseball, softball fields, final inspection. Dr. Gaylor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And actually, this item and the next one are related. Of course, the fields at Charlotte High have been done for quite some time. The substructure and the 3-story historic building opened in April. But all of the items relating to everything, including the most recent, which is the 3-story, needed to be completed before we actually sent this to the state for approval. This is the state DOE final inspection certificate. So that's why it comes to you now rather than each of those pieces coming when they were completed over the last 2 years. Of course, again, Jerry is here. If you have any questions on this certificate, you've seen a number of these over the period of time that we have been working, especially the last 5 years, in terms of our hurricane rebuilds. Do you have any questions?
It's a great facility.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dr. Gaylor, Superintendent's recommendation.
I would recommend that we approve the Hurricane Charlie Recovery Charlotte High School Phase 1 3-story substructure, which also includes the baseball and softball fields, and it's a final DOE inspection.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve the Charlotte High School final inspection. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Item D, Hurricane Charlie Recovery Charlotte High School Phase 1 final pay request. Dr. Gaylor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Again, this is related to the previous item. In order to process the final pay request for those structures to Ajax, what we need to do is, of course, first pass the final inspection. So this is the final pay for all of Phase 1 for Charlotte High School. It's been a long time coming, so I would heartily recommend that we approve this item as submitted to you this evening.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve the final pay request for Charlotte High School. Is there any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Item E, Superintendent's Annual Evaluation. School board policy states that the board will conduct a written annual evaluation of the superintendent. The purpose of this evaluation is to improve communication and understanding between the board and superintendent, to commend the superintendent for his accomplishments, to suggest ways for the superintendent to improve his performance and the district's performance, and to document the superintendent's performance for matters relating to his employment, including contract extension and raises. The superintendent's evaluation is both performance-based and competency-based. The performance-based part assesses the superintendent's 2 to 3 goals that are set each year by the superintendent and the school board. These goals are specific and measurable using established criteria. And the competency-based part assesses different responsibilities and personal characteristics of the superintendent in 6 categories that include leadership, ethics, planning, management, and student achievement. This part requires each board member to score 24 different items on a scale of 1 to 10. Each board member prepared an individual evaluation of Dr. Gaylor this past July. We discussed those evaluations at our workshop on July 29th. As chairman, I then compiled a narrative composite evaluation from each board member's performance-based evaluation of Dr. Gaylor. And then, thanks to Mr. Swift, the computer compiled the competency-based part of the evaluation and gave an average score for each of the 6 categories, as well as the total average score. And this year, the total average score from all 5 board members out of a possible score of 10 for the superintendent was 9.57. Congratulations, Dr. Gaylor, for another outstanding evaluation and year. This has been an extremely difficult year, and the next year promises to even be more challenging. The board has complete confidence in your leadership. We know you will always do what is best for our students and for the district. We are indeed privileged to have you as our superintendent, and we look forward to having you lead us next year. And I'd also like to mention your assistant superintendents and your senior administrative staff. We know that their expertise and leadership is partly responsible for your high evaluation. How they carry forth their leadership responsibilities is so important in your final evaluation. So I believe you told us last year that you do make your evaluation available to them so that they're able to see how we actually evaluate you on both parts of that. So congratulations on another successful year. Board members, any comments? Or if not, I need a motion to accept the superintendent's evaluation. Ms. Messina.
Actually, I can do both. I did want to make a comment, but do you want to go ahead and I'll move to accept it, and then we can just discuss it?
Okay, let's do that.
All right, so moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we accept the superintendent's evaluation. Is there any board discussion? Mrs. Messina.
Thank you. I thought you did a fine job of summarizing all of our comments and quotes, but I just wanted to make mention, Dr. Gaylor, that on a daily basis you have really responded to the budgetary needs and shortfalls that have come down to us from the state, continued to come down to us from the state. And you never put students or employees in a position where they felt threatened or compromised. And I thought that you especially led our school district leaders through this really unenviable task of regularly responding to these budget cuts, but never compromising the programmatic offerings of the district and ensuring that students' needs are focused upon. And so I just wanted to highlight that because it's crucially important that not just the people in this district understand that, but the people in this community know and appreciate the efforts that have gone on this past year.
Thank you. Mrs. Seifert.
The score of 9.57 kind of says it all, that it's nearly a perfect score, and indicates our pleasure at the job that you and your leadership team have done. And we all mentioned in our evaluations the challenging year and the difficulty of the year. And so I would just summarize by saying that our community, our school district, our students are most fortunate to have you and your leadership team at the helm during these very difficult, challenging times. And we truly appreciate the remarkably outstanding job of leadership that we see through your leadership team.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller.
When it comes time for this evaluation, it's easy and it's hard because it's very easy to find so many good points. It's so hard to find anything that really needs to be improved. I can't imagine a better leader to have at these times or actually any time. And you continue to amaze me, and with the teamwork that you have and the way students and the personnel always come first. And I thank you for that.
Thank you. Mr. Swift.
When I first started doing these evaluations many moons ago. I did not look forward to them at all. I now enjoy the process because of the discussion that happens as a part of the evaluation. And I know from hearing my colleagues around the state talk about the situation some of them have with their superintendents that there may be a few districts that have a relationship that is as strong as ours is, but there certainly are not any districts that have a stronger relationship. And you have truly made us feel a part of the entire team, and that is important. That is one reason that we're able to accomplish the things that we do, because we can work together. And in so many districts, the relationship between board and superintendent is confrontational and they're at odds, and we have not had that. And I feel fortunate that we are able to conduct business in that manner, and it is reflective of you and your team, because as was mentioned before, a large part of this evaluation is not only you, but it's the performance of the entire team, because you are the person we rate and who we hold accountable for everything that happens in this district. So I think it's a very strong evaluation of not only you, but the entire leadership staff of this district, and I think that says a lot. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
And you've said a lot. Thank you very much, Mr. Swift. We appreciate it. Oh, I meant that in a good way. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Yeah, it's because you're just used to the other thing.
We never give you a break.
Yeah, right.
You know, if somebody might not have, if
I'm moving
the
on to the
press
next item here.
taken it wrong, I might have moved to have somebody else be chairman, but I won't do that.
Dr. Gator, we are honored to accept your excellent evaluation, and it is truly a pleasure to work with you, and we all look forward to working with you again next year. We don't ever want you to leave, especially at a time like this.
Make a comment?
Yes, absolutely.
Just thank you for that very much. It is truly a big part of what the team does. And the team includes principals, assistant principals, teachers, really includes all of our employees and much of the community. Fact of the matter is, a tough year. It's been a tough year since Charlie. I think every year's been a tough one for a variety of reasons. This one's insidious because it is an economic issue, and it's a serious economic issue, one that I've never seen in my lifetime before. And I can only listen to my parents who have seen the Depression times tell me what it was like then. I know it's not the same exactly, but it's very, very difficult. So the decisions that we've had to make this year are, and will continue to have to make, are not easy ones. And they don't make people happy. They don't make me happy. They don't make parents happy. They don't make teachers happy. They don't make you happy. The fact of the matter is, inside the school walls is what our student success vision and our mission is all about. And inside the school walls and inside the schools, things are intact as they can be. And that's the way that, as long as I'm here, I intend to keep it. A lot of other things are going to suffer. A lot of other things are going to suffer. The fact of the matter is, teaching and learning is what we're all about. And teaching and learning is occurring, and it's occurring at a high level, which it is in this county. Then I think we've had as successful a year as we possibly can have. So I appreciate your evaluation, because I know it's been a tough year to deal with, and a tough year to evaluate anybody on, because of the kinds of changes that we've had to make. And I appreciate your confidence, and appreciate your confidence in the team as well. And I anticipate that we're going to have another challenging but equally as good year this year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gaylor. Item F, Superintendent's Contract Amendment. Dr. Gaylor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I asked you to amend this for a couple of reasons. One, there's an automatic raise in here that I do not want to take, and so I've asked that be that I can decline that. Secondly, on the longevity issue, I'd ask that that not be paid either, that just be some additional time, which I can always use as I need to with my family. So I appreciate that. So this 4 hours a month. And then a transfer of the sick leave to vacation leave to provide that flexibility when I need those things. So I appreciate that. No cost to the district. In fact, it's a lesser cost to the district because I'm not going to take that raise or any other raise that comes my way. So with those contract amendments, I would appreciate your consideration of those this evening.
Thank you. I need a motion for approval.
Move approval.
Second.
So moved and seconded that we approve the superintendent's contract amendment to the employment contract for the period from May 6, 2002 through June 30th, 2011. Is there any board discussion? Mrs. Seifert.
Just that we certainly would like to give you a raise, and you certainly have earned a raise, just as our employees have, and it's unfortunate that the economic circumstances make it such that we cannot do that, but if the money was there, you would have one.
Well, thank you, and I know that if we are able at any point this year, there's nothing I'd rather do than make sure that our employees have something additional in their pockets, because this economic condition has really hurt a lot of them. So thank you for that sentiment, but I understand, and we need to work to get everybody some money in their pockets if we possibly can. Then that's going to be a task. It's going to be a task. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Last item, personnel action. Dr. Gaylor.
Yes, ma'am. I'd recommend, let me just check, make sure I've got no addenda here. I don't. I would recommend that we approve personnel action as submitted this evening.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve the personnel action. Is there any board discussion? Mr. Swift.
Mr. Superintendent, wasn't there a person who was supposed to have been removed?
And we did. Yes, sir, we did. Should have been rescanned in by Betty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was an accidental placement on the agenda. So
Okay.
if it's still there, then I'll make sure you get the correct copy because it's off mine. Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Next, we have citizen comment. Ms. Smith, is there any citizen wishing to address the board this evening?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Carrie Pierce.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
My name is Carrie Pierce. I've been a resident here since 1974. I remember when Mr. Waldrop was here. I remember when Don Seiler ran the transportation department. I have come to you for help. Dr. Gaylor, you have a 9.57 evaluation. Let's see to it that we can keep the same staff members to keep you with that same evaluation. I won't bore you with the first details of the letter with Mr. Duckworth because I was denied due to safety hazards. My point, I'll synopsis real quick and then I'll read this because I know I'm on a short time limit here. I asked for my daughter's bus stop to be relocated due to the fact that she has to be over a quarter of a mile, about a half a mile, on O'Hara with no sidewalks and no bike paths. I was denied. The second time I was denied again. And I will read part of the paragraph from Mr. Duckworth, copied to Mr. Oliva. You requested a stop change for your student, Marina Pierce, a 6th grade student attending Murdoch Middle School. You requested that the bus stop at Bell Fountain and O'Hara be changed to O'Hara and Midway, as there are no sidewalks, bike paths, or walk paths. Your student travels 1.1 of a mile to her bus stop. Transportation Review Committee noted no safety hazards or hardships other than the distance. Moving the stop would affect 24 students, increasing their walking distance under the same conditions you considered unsafe. The committee also considered adding a stop, which is what I asked for. However, no location was available that didn't place your student at a stop within 500 feet of a registered sexual offender or required them to cross O'Hara without the bus stop lights as protection. In the absence of identifiable safety hazards with a safety walk path and no acceptable alternatives, the committee, after discussion, has denied your request. I spoke with Sue Seifert to have this done a second time. This is my second denial. I'm going to make a couple comments on this if you don't mind. Okay, the first comment is in regards to about the registered sex offender. My daughter used to attend Meadow Park. You currently have a bus stop at McGill and Midway. There is a sexual predator right there. Pull it up on the internet. And these children are my daughter's friends that are twins. They were 5.5 years old that are there. So you denied it wrong, because if you got one bus stop with a child molester or sexual predator, why can't you have another one? Second of all, she passes over 7 of them on her way to Bell Fountain. Third, if Midway comes this way and O'Hara comes this way, okay, they're denying this due to require them to cross O'Hara without the bus stop lights as protection. Well, that's contraindicating yourself, because she's going down O'Hara over a half a mile with no help. So if you're stopping there to turn right onto O'Hara, pick her up. And any other kid that is closer there. I'm not asking for any extra gas money. I'm not asking for any extra economic decision of changes, any extra fuel. My mother was a bus driver for over 10 years. I know over half of your current bus drivers, and half of them are my clients. I'm asking for help here. She had to go to school one day. They had to give her a new pair of shoes because her feet, she still had fire ants on her feet. She couldn't get them off. The bus came 12 minutes late last Thursday. She's panicking. There's 23 other kids there. What do we do? Do we go home? What do we do? She texts me. No, actually, excuse me. She called me. She knows. She's told, I'm in a morning meeting every morning at 8:30. Text me when you get to the bus stop. Text me when you get on the bus. I saw her calling. She's told, call me only in an emergency. I excused myself from the meeting. I said, what's the matter? She says, what do I do? It's 9:01. The bus is not here. I called the school. School, I can't help you. Call the transportation department. I called Mr. Duckworth's department. Well, we don't know where the bus is. You want to tell a parent this that's at work? You don't know where the bus is. So she knows I'm on the phone. She calls my office and says, the bus got here, Mom, I'm okay. Or to my secretary. Okay, then she comes home and she shares with me that because there is an economic problem, the bus will always be late on Thursday because they have to pick up, don't quote me on this, I'm not sure I'm right, Liberty Elementary, I believe. So the bus will always be late on Thursdays. I said, well, then you can't eat breakfast at school on Thursdays. You need to eat breakfast at home. I leave before her. My husband leaves before me. She has to lock up everything. She's 11 years old. She can handle it. I don't have an issue about 1.10 mile. I have an issue that people go down that road 45 miles an hour. That my son, I had asked for this to be changed. He graduated several years ago. It wasn't that busy then. He was almost hit twice. And nobody would let it be changed. So does she need to be hit, or do we have to have a death? To simply ask you to pick her up or anyone else, cut half of the 23 children, put half of them at O'Hara, and put half of them at Bell Fountain. Because there's other parents that are upset too. But there's not a lot of other parents that have enough nerve to get up here and ask you. This is my 3rd time in asking. And I'm not going to stop asking until somebody fixes it. If I got to go see Governor Chris or whoever, I understand that we vote 1, 2, 3, 4 of you in. And I understand that you give him his evaluation. So if we have to clean house to fix the problem, I don't care. But I am asking you nicely to fix the problem.
Ms. Pierce, we appreciate you being here this evening, and we certainly understand your frustration. It's difficult for us to respond to a situation like yours because I'm not privy to any of the information that the Transportation Review Committee has come up, any of their information or any information about Mr. Duckworth, what he has decided. So I really can't respond, and we can't fix things for you tonight or make any kind of a decision because we don't have that. So
and I understand
we
that.
do appreciate you being here. And like Dr. Gaylor said before, is we've had to make some tough decisions, and a lot of decisions aren't going to make people happy, the parents and students. And
100%.
And,
yes, ma'am. I've been a student. I went and started kindergarten here, and I was the first graduating class of Port Charlotte High. I've been here a long time. My parents own Beef Country. My mom owned Charlotte County Self Storage, and I work for AmeriLife and Health Services. I thought we were supposed to take care of our young and our seniors. And I understand that things are cut, but if it's a problem where someone's really going to get hurt here, or you're going to have fire ants, and I mean, there is not I will not ride my bike down O'Hara, okay? I can't ask my child to do something I won't do, and I have been. And that's not right. You all are parents, Maybe some of you are grandparents. Would you ask your child to do something you are not going to do? That's what you have to ask yourselves. And that's what Mr. Duckworth has to ask himself.
Thank you for being here this evening, Ms. Pierce.
Thank you.
Ms. Smith, is there any other citizen wishing to address the board this evening? Thank you. Attorney comment, Ms. Young.
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. Board member comment, Mrs. Miller.
Okay. First, I'd like to congratulate the Charlotte Local Education Foundation for being awarded a grant from the Charlotte Community Foundation for $7,500, and that is going to help fund and send additional students to Enterprise Village in St. Pete this year. This money was added to the $26,000 raised by the leadership class of 2009, and that allow all of our fifth graders to go to Charlotte County for the business experience. To St. Pete for the business experience. Another grant, or more money coming in, is the 21st Century Community Learning Centers grant that was awarded. This grant application was a collaborative project with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Charlotte County Family Services Center, and Charlotte County Public Schools. This grant will provide approximately $392,000 a year for 5 years, and the amount will be declining in the last 2 years. It's going to provide for after-school programs for about 230 students in our elementary, middle, and high schools. There will also be a before-school program for the participating middle schools. Together with the 21st CCLC grant held by New Operation Cooper Street, students in all of our schools will be able to participate in these programs. Also would like to thank Dr. Gaylor for meeting with Mr. Baltz and the sheriff to work on the 3 crossing guards. There was a problem with that, and I know it's a temporary solution, but appreciate that being taken care of. And of course, our scores are all coming in well. Charlotte High just, along with all of our other high schools, did extremely well. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Mrs. Seifert.
Port Charlotte High School has had a fantastic academic year, and adding to that are the accomplishments of the AP English and Composition students. They had 49 students that earned a 3 or higher and had a passing percentage 23 points higher than the global average. Their accomplishment is nothing short of amazing, and we want to send our congratulations to them. I also was going to mention the 21st Century Grant, Dr. Dollinger and Emily Lewis and anyone else that worked on that. That will be a wonderful addition to our after-school programs for our students, and I know it will help contribute to success in the classroom as well. And finally, our very own Amity Chandler has developed another program, this one called Be the Wall, and it has been accepted by the state and is going to be used by all of the state drug-free organizations, and it's just another example of the outstanding creative people that we have working with us, and my congratulations to her for that recognition. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Swift.
In light of your previous comment, I will
Abstain.
be more wordy than usual.
I've got
One
the
thing,
gavel.
Mr. Superintendent, I would like, I mentioned this to you privately, but I think it deserves to be out in the public. I would like some report from Edison College on what they have done to, even though that was an erroneous situation that did not happen, it did point out some security weaknesses that are at that campus for high school students. So I would like a report from them on what they are doing to address those issues. Mrs. Messina and I will be attending the Greater Florida Consortium of School Boards legislative meeting on Friday. If you have any comments or anything for that group, although it's the same things that we're submitting to that as well as the School Board Association. If there's anything additional, please let either one of us know. There were a couple of interesting comments in this month's American School Board Journal relative to charter schools. One in Florida, it says students in Florida's school voucher program are performing no better or no worse than their counterparts in public schools, according to a state commission study. But the study, which reviewed changes in scores from 2006 and 7 to 07-08, says at least one more year of data is needed before it can be determined whether the program is working. A Stanford University study said more than 1/3 of charter schools nationwide deliver learning results that are significantly worse than would have been realized by traditional public schools. All this becomes important when some of the race to the top stimulus money that is being offered to school districts, one of the criteria and state school systems is that you have to be very welcoming and open to the formation of charter schools. I guess I am missing something when they're not doing what they're touted to be able to do. When will we have our first enrollment numbers for the year?
We'll have for Mr. Greiner, we'll have something on Thursday of this week.
Good.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, and this has nothing to do with schools, but two very close friends of my family's celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary on Saturday. And the neat thing about the anniversary party was they renewed their vows. And the minister that married them was there to do the renewal of vows.
How old was he?
He was only a couple of years. These folks are in their early 80s, and he was maybe a year or two older than them. I think it was his first church, and he'd only been there a few months when he married this couple. And it was just such a nice evening to be able to see something like that happen. It's one of those things that it probably hasn't happened 10 times in the last 20 years in this area. But thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Messina.
Thank you. I wanted to mention that I visited the Edison Charter School in early August before school started. They had invited us out, and I wanted to go and see the classrooms and meet the teachers. And I have to tell you, the 4 teachers that they have out there I think are going to be wonderful for the kids. They seem to be very strong academic teachers. And I have heard that things have gotten off to a good start. So I wanted to mention that they also hired, I don't know how many of you remember Sherry Reagan, who taught drama at Lemon Bay for years and years and years, and actually is Jen Kelly's mother. They brought her in to do the drama out there, so they're going to have a real thriving drama program out there, which I think is exciting. I also wanted to mention that Mr. Swift already said that he and I are going to be attending the Greater Florida Consortium on Friday, but one of the things that I have asked Wayne Blanton to look into prior to that date is to help us try to maybe find a funding source for school crossing guards. And so they're taking a survey of school districts around the state to see how they're funding those services. And Ken Robertson, Representative Robertson, and Commissioner Skidmore and I met last week trying to find some sort of a permanent solution. We do have the one-year solution right now, but we're looking for something a little more permanent. So I just kind of wanted to put that on your radar. I wanted to mention, and I don't see Chris Bress here, but maybe John Wendt or Mike Riley, this maybe touches you guys too, but I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there are new website photos of kids and faces and younger, it's not the same kids that are now graduated that were in 6th grade when the first pictures went up. And every time I see a new face, I'm excited about that. So thanks for updating